Hi, Lindelwa. Nice to see
Hi.
you again. So thank
Yeah.
you so much for taking part in Tactile Visions Woven. It's lovely to have you on the exhibition. And so thank you for making your work available for the exhibition.
Yes, definitely. No problem.
Uh, First up, I'd like you to introduce yourself to the audience who doesn't know you.
Okay. Okay. Hi, everyone, the audience. My name is Lindelwa Masuku. I am originally from Mpumalanga, but I'm currently in Johannesburg right now because of work. I'm Swazi, and that's inspired of a lot of what I do. I come from a family of four, an older sister. I studied, I pursued a fine art degree at the University of the Witwatersrand. Last year, I was supposed to graduate this year, but coronavirus did the things. So currently I'm working as a PA for a fashion brand. And yeah, I'm continuing to freelance and work as a digital artist and extend my expertise for on the digital side. Yeah.
Thanks for that. Can you tell us a bit about the work that is specifically on Tactile Visions Woven?
Okay. Moving into my third year, I had an encounter where I also really realized that maybe a lot of what I do wasn't coming through, and I was working a lot with my heritage as a Swazi woman, and I realized I think I was letting a lot of things fall short, and I realized that I needed to do a lot of research, even about my own culture. I am Swazi, but I think sometimes we speak just from out of our heads and just from experiences. And it's really important. It was really important for me to research thoroughly and immerse myself immensely into the project. So what I submitted for the exhibition for Tactile Visions, it's a collection of 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 army wear. Let me call it army wear. It's a shoulder garment piece, and it's inspired a lot by Umhlanga. Umhlanga is basically it's a traditional celebration for Swazi women. It's a coming into womanhood. It's for young girls coming into womanhood, and how it's displayed. It's displayed as a protest. I would like to believe it's a protest, and it's a cultural protest for young girls. Speaking against so many issues that sometimes are covered or masked by traditions. So they're speaking against a lot of things. They're speaking against their femininity. They're speaking against the use of their bodies on a lot of like when you travel somewhere, you see a postcard, and there's just be somebody out there with their like a traditional wear. They don't even know that they're on that postcard themselves. So it's really speaking against a lot of things like that, on their bodies as well, that they are the carriers of their bodies. Their bodies aren't just for use. So now the Umhlanga becomes, a protest against all of those things. So that's why I decided to create army wear. That one day I hope someday they're going to wear my collection as part of that celebration. So Tactile Visions, how that came about is the fabric. The fabric that's on the garments is a Swazi fabric. It's lihao. Lihao is a shield. So it's a blue fabric that has the shield on it. And I think that again that speaks to the nature of a cultural protest, if I should put it that way. And for me, it's lihia is something that exists in my family. We have so many of them. It's piles and piles and piles of them. So it exists in the everyday wear, that we have in my culture. So that's how I was able to transition something that's just a fabric that's very culturally loaded, but it's everyday wear. It's a wearing of this culture, and I felt that it was important, to transition this into a army wear.
One of the wonderful things about having to engage with your work last year, Lindelwa, was seeing the range of performances that you staged, and so also understanding that the garments that you make are also to be seen as part of a staging of performances, but they also work as sculptural objects. They also work as objects to be worn. So they're very multidimensional. Uh, um, as well as what was also very obvious, apart from the fact that you yourself are such an incredibly strong person, was the fact that you're able to bring about the fact that the Swazi heritage is filled with a lineage of strong women, including the Swazi queen herself, and that was what your study was on as well. That matrilineal lineage is quite strong, and so you were recuperating that history that sometimes gets forgotten in a way.
Yes, and I think I was also speaking to misrepresentations at many times, this overlook or overshadow of women. And, there's this belief that women are just backgrounds in the struggle. But, that I've learned in my own culture as well, and exploring it, is that, what, women have been in the forefront of everything. And the woman I looked at, she was one of the king's mother, a couple of centuries back. But she was the one who actually started the process of independence. And that all of that is overshadowed by this kingdom that comes now, and how the country is suddenly independent. But actually all the groundwork was done by a woman.
Fantastic. And that element of pride is something that I think also marks your work as well. The pride in your heritage, an incredible decolonial pride, that an understanding of one's place and one's history, that then allows one to celebrate one's customs, with an understanding of one's knowledge, practices, and so you're creating this line of garments, of fashion wear, that invokes this understanding of traditions and customs through the celebration as well, right?
Yes, and I think I always say that I celebrate my culture not in blindness. I'm very much aware of all these customs and traditions that exist. Swaziland is a very patriarchal. It's a very masculine driven country, if I should put it that way. Looking at the authorities that govern the country, But I feel like I think we exist. Women exist in those spaces. They aren't shadows of any, but they exist in those spaces, and they live and they breathe and they create and they go to work and they continue. They aren't mannequins, or they aren't standing still, even in those spaces that many times push them down. But I think it's just that we continue moving. We aren't standing still. And the mountains, we move with these mountains, So I think that's a really important, feature in my work, or something that drives me as an artist and as a Swazi woman in this century.
Last question, Lindelwa. What does it feel like to also be an artist who moves between these kinds of categories, because there's also colonialism also structured these categories of craft, of fashion, of fine art, of the digital, and so now your work is very much moving in a very fluid way between all of these practices, these categories, these boundaries. Almost, I mean, we know practically that these boundaries actually just really don't exist in reality. How does it feel like negotiating this as an emerging artist?
Okay. I think it comes very naturally to me. I think I've been born in a very digital age. That was part of of my identity as well, I guess. It's a very natural move to me. It's nothing that feels weighty, but yeah, I really do feel also like a digital archiving my work, because it's important, preserving our cultures. And I think the digital prints is where we're moving into. I think many people think the fourth industrial revolution is still ahead of us, but it's actually behind us now, and we're in the wave of it. So I really do believe in capturing my culture in a way that is going to be preserved for my kids and their kids and the generations to come. And luckily for me, I come from a family that still is very in tune with the culture, but traditional cultures are soon almost phasing out bit by bit. So I think I want to be part of the process of preserving that, for educational purposes, but I think also a reaffirmation of my own identity as well.
Great. So thank you very much, Lindelwa. Of course, COVID also robbed us of the opportunity to see your performance, as well as to see a much more extensive display of some of these garments, which unfortunately remained behind at home in Mpumalanga.
Yeah.
But we're still glad to see at least some of the images of this in the exhibition. So thank you for making that available to us, and we hope to see much more of these in future.
No, you will.
Thank you very much.